No, yeah. I mean, just after doing it, I don't know how anyone could do this online, like in 3 to 5 sessions. It feels just much more efficient to do it in person.
Right.
It also just feels like it feels more cost effective to do it all at once than trying to spread it across a month, because some of these issues, you're saving money by doing it all at once.
Right. You're not context switching back to like normal life and then remembering like how far did we get the last time.
Right.
Going back.
Right. And exactly. And also now for the next, for the month that we would have been doing this spread across 5 or 6 calls, now for the next month, I'm going to have this entire breakdown in mind when I operate and when I'm actually working on the business. Right. So I actually know what to work on.
I think your process is great. What I like about what we talked about today is we got to the truth of the level of systemization that your writers need and don't need, and where the levers are in your business, right? So I don't think it makes sense to build some like super detailed process. Like if you said, oh yeah, my writers are always forgetting stuff and they have to do a ton of writing and I want them to really track the QA. If we would have known that, and not that your writers are super high IQ and like really like it's their writer's room, right? They're creatives. So I like that you were honest about who your team actually is, because I think that gives us some ideas about how to design something that doesn't get in your team's way, but still gives you the stats that you need. I don't think the stats are necessarily actually a big thing in that regard, though. I think it's part of it. So that's one thing I like about the conversation today. And the other thing is, I think the conversation around SDRs and they don't fill in the sheet, and if we could only get them to send up more outbound,
have the right talent,
and there's like lots of problems with the SDR thing, which is like basically all your revenue, that I think we can solve by one simple fix, which is like owning more of that infrastructure.
On my end, from just like purely on the technical sides, are there low-hanging fruit? There are. Can they be fixed? I think they should. The big thing, and we talked about this in the room, is like 2 portions of the business. One is the content writing piece, which you have on lock. You're a writer, teams of writers. That I think can be slightly optimized to just make them more efficient. Yes, the biggest part is like, you guys are creators. You guys are not spreadsheet guys. And that's whole spreadsheet element. I think if we can get to that point where we have client health scores and we know we're growing enough, we have the right ratio of growth to calls, we have the right ratio of just total sends of DMs per account, and we know we're hitting all of these inputs, those are all leading metrics for us to know, all right, their calls booked total and their revenue collected total is going to be on point because we're hitting all of these kind of 4 or 5 input points that we're going to need. So I think getting to the point where we're able to track that, and a big portion is going to be how can we own the infrastructure of the setting component, so it's self-reported rather than us kind of having to have 20 different spreadsheets we're going to have to manage.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say is I think, so because your writers are like, you want to keep them around, you want to keep them happy, you want to keep them focused on the right thing. And so I think one opportunity for some math is tracking, like, this client has this many followers, they've had this many followers in the last 3 months. We're on growth mode. That means the KPI is calculated as this. So that everyone, there's no like subjectivity in the KPIs, which
more
are tied,
scientific approach.
They're tied to your writer's pay. So like if people feel like you're being unfair with them, or what, there's more chances for them to leave. Whether, I think what we can do is put in some like just basically math approximations and say, hey, the KPI is this. And everyone's like, cool, like let me get back to my thing, which is writing, and everyone just doesn't even really think about the KPI that much. And then the other one on the operations side, I think, is getting you out of Slack so that other people are handling that, which is gonna get you back into like coming up with awesome bangers for your clients. So yeah, I think that's the thought.
Your thoughts on the process, just overall, how was the process? Feedback on it, things you like, things you dislike.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with getting down to the truth of what's actually high leverage. And because, if you asked me a week ago, I was gonna say automate this onboarding process and automate this carousel creation, little things that aren't really
and we were like, hey, the carousel creation, like, why don't you just
delete?
Don't do that at all.
Yeah, so like that, without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to do. So being able to actually designate what is important, what is the core revenue drivers, and how do we improve / fix that. is by far the highlight of the day. I think there's a bunch of little things in there, but that is 100% like the bread and butter.
Cool. Perfect.
Cool. Love it.
Questions. That's it. Really, really good session. Beautiful day in London. It's not raining.
Yeah.
I know it lucked out today.
If
Rained
you're
every
looking for
other
a banger,
day.
if you're looking for a banger writer, he hates taking sales calls. So you just have to like send him money.
Ask for a Stripe link. And
Just
that's
ask for a Stripe link. Ask for, we're gonna just show the bank account at the bottom of the screen.
Just wire it.
Just wire it. Don't even ask.
Wire it. First payment's $15,000 for the setting account.
For the idea. Just for the idea.
Just for the,
One
this
hook.
content, the
One
idea.
hook.
Yeah.
No, Marcus, thanks for taking the time and trusting us, and I look forward to next week and basically the demo of the conclusions we're going to have and putting this on a more concrete roadmap, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah, and that's it. And if you want us to do that in your business too, give us a shout, and we'll set it up.
We'll do that. We might not fly out.
We
but
might not.
do.
We'll just put a bank account on the bottom of the screen. You wire the money there, and we'll talk later.
And we'll
Anyways,
see. And then we'll see.
Commercial closing. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Awesome.